Hello, my name is Roshan Narayan, and thank you for joining us on In20. If you're watching us on YouTube, do
that back four and protect and pass the ball very, very simply. He is brilliant. If you put leg.
We are coming to you live, technically from our homes. Danny's over there in the UK. I'm over here in Malaysia. It's a lockdown. It is COVID. And no, this is not a sponsored shirt, and these are not sponsored gaming headsets, unlike Mr. International superstar over there, Danny Mills, who's living in the... Is this the west wing or east wing of your house?
Well, I thought as you're at home, Roshan, because I believe it's your birthday. So many congratulations. Happy. What are you now? Are you 45? 45
Shut up, today? Penny. I'm not 45. Do I look 45? 25 and half. 25 and half.
Yeah. No, so I just thought you're at home. So I thought I'll be at home. I'll come out of the office and I'll come into the home for this one.
And I love your shirt. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by the WWE. I think your son, who represents England for the 1,500 meters, is represented by, or rather sponsored by Nike, correct?
Yeah. He's been out in Dubai training hard. So he says, anyhow. But it's a lot sunnier and a lot warmer than it is here in England. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I saw one of those videos of you, or rather when you posted of him training and he's shoveling the ice, making sure the track's ready for him to, have just to practice. Where does that motivation come from to get better? Do you help him in any way?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, most athletes will tell you it's self-motivated. You've got to be self-motivated in any sport, but I think athletics is very much an individual. Even when you train as a group, there's a lot of sessions that you have to do on your own. There's no real money in running. There's not a lot of money in athletics at all. So, there's not a lot of help. It's not like football where you get everything done for you. You sneeze, someone comes with a tissue and wipes your nose for you. Your car's frozen, someone comes and de-ices it and warms it up for you. Athletics, you're on your own. So yeah, I admire all sort of individual athletes at the lower end of the financial scale that go through the same effort as footballers, but clearly don't get the financial rewards.
Actually, you can use that line for any line of work. You always want to get better, so you become the best in your line of work. So if you're Kylian Mbappe and you've been paid so much money, you've accomplished so much as a player as well on the international scene with your club at PSG. But wouldn't you think that he would like to move to a club like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool, Bayern Munich to test yourself against the best?
Yeah, I guess there is that. Champions League, I think, obviously, for PSG would be the one, wouldn't it? If they can go on and win that. It's difficult sometimes. There has to be a balance of happiness, where you feel comfortable, what you enjoy doing, as opposed to moving where it might not work out. Real Madrid is not the Real Madrid of old. It's not like you're guaranteed to get to Champions League finals, win La Liga. And equally, you're still only playing 2 or 3 difficult games a season, or difficult teams a season at Real Madrid. You should win most of the other games. So I sort of understand it. And also, he's getting paid fortunes to do what he loves. And I suppose, if you're happy, there's always this big debate about legacy. Is legacy medals, or is it, having done what you've done all your life, enjoyed what you've done, been really successful, and then gone on and obviously earned a lot of money, and you can retire, and then you have the freedom to do whatever you want with your family and whatever that may be. So, if he's happy, and if he wants to stay there, I don't think you can fault him for that.
Okay, that's Danny Mills, the business person, but come on, man. You talk about the likes of Kieran Trippier, who's gone over to Atletico Madrid from Tottenham. You look at David Beckham, for the amount of rubbish he got, the flamboyant lifestyle. He's played for AC Milan, Real Madrid, Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo, who's proved himself at every club or any place he's ever been to. Surely there has to be something within you as a player to say, okay, the money is good, but I just want to prove to everybody, especially myself, that I can play with the best and beat the best. I mean, how many times is he going to beat Monaco, AS Monaco, or Lens? I mean, and no disrespect to any of these teams, yeah?
No,
on a weekly basis.
He has won the World Cup. So,
but that's what...
Go tick. So that's scored in the World Cup final. Tick. hasn't won the Champions League yet.
But you know where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, I do, and that's what I said, that there's always that there's that balance. Only one team can win the Champions League, every single season. Only one team can win the Premier League. If he went to Bayern Munich and he won the Bundesliga, is that any better than winning the French league? Not really.
No.
So the only sort of two competitive leagues maybe you're looking at, I don't think Italy's quite up there at the moment. It's not quite hit the high standards, of back in maybe the 90s. Juventus won it for many, many, years in a row. So that's been sort of a one league team, Okay, maybe AC Milan and Inter might have something to say about it this time around, but it's not guaranteed to be competitive, sort of week in, week out. The Premier League is the only place that he could come to. But we don't label that at Lionel Messi, saying, he needs to come and prove it somewhere else. Okay, he has won the Champions League. He has done that. But then Mbappe's won the World Cup, and is still very, very young. So, no, I think it's always a difficult balance. Yes, in the perfect world, you want to win trophies, earn lots of money, and be the best that you are at every club that you go to. But there's always this balance.
Is he staying because of Pochettino?
I think
if he stays, if he chooses to stay.
Oh yeah, I think not just because of Pochettino. He's probably also happy. You have to remember he's also French, so he's in his home country. He has creature comforts around. It's like saying, Roshan, are you going to okay, tomorrow make the move, leave your family, move over to England, and try and make it in England and be successful. You're great at what you do in Malaysia, but come and do it in England. Come and prove it. And you go, I don't need to do that for yourself because you're comfortable with what you're doing. And if he's comfortable with, being in his own country, in his own surroundings, then why leave?
Fair enough. I would love to come to England and try, but the only problem is you can't say anything over there. People lose their marbles the moment you are deemed into. Okay, I'm going to stop myself because I don't want to get you into trouble because you do live there. So, if given a choice for Mauricio Pochettino, now at PSG, is this that final little straw for the likes of Neymar and Kylian Mbappe, who says, all right, more for Neymar than Kylian Mbappe. Listen, I've got a few more years with me at my best. I'm going to give it 2 to 3 years and then see what I can do. And if no, I just move on or do move to the Premier League.
Possibly. You've also got this issue around Messi. Messi's going to be a contract. Where does he go next? Obviously, there's links with Pochettino. Neymar has said that he wants to play with Messi, again, and get involved in that. What if Messi suddenly signed for PSG? You'd have to say they can possibly become one of the dominant forces in the Champions League because of that. When you start looking at, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, that's not a bad front line, is it?
Yeah.
And suddenly they could go on to dominate the Champions League for 3 or 4 seasons. Maybe with those front three and just take them to the next level. So there's a possibility. Pochettino, we know, is a fantastic coach. Didn't quite get that trophy at Tottenham. Has already got one at PSG. Okay, he was parachuted in last minute, but even still, but he's now got that trophy. He's now a winner. So therefore, if he can take PSG to the next level, and push them on, look at how he improved players at Tottenham. Bringing through the younger players as well. So if I was Mbappe, I can completely understand, why he's staying there, and he's still very, very young. Let's not forget that.
Okay, fine. That's fair enough. And well put, Danny. If he stays and he's successful, likewise with Neymar under Pochettino at PSG, all good to him. But let's talk about an issue that isn't exactly turning out well, at least from my point of view. Ozil, who's now all of a sudden become villain number 1 at Arsenal. He's left the club. And now, I don't know whether Arteta could have managed that press conference better. He was asked if perhaps the players that left Arsenal were the ones that leaked out the information of whatever happened behind the scenes. And he goes, no comment. Is it me or is it Ozil the easiest, person to blame for all their problems right now?
It is in a way. I think Arsenal have a problem now because Mesut Ozil, if he goes to, or when he goes to Fenerbahce, when that's completed, in the next few hours, if he goes to Fenerbahce and starts playing really, really well, starts making assists, starts scoring, and looks like the fantastic player that we know he can be, Arsenal have a real problem, because then it's like, well, hang on a minute. Why didn't you do this at Arsenal? Why did you leave him out? His attitude obviously is fine. He's fit. He can play. He's creative. He's doing all the things that you want a player to do. So why couldn't Arteta get it out of him? And I think Arsenal are now in that sort of predicament where they could make themselves look a little bit silly, in this scenario. Just saying, well, he's not good enough, for the squad. If he goes to Fenerbahce and starts being a superstar like we know he can be, Arsenal have an issue.
Have you, in your playing days, or even as a commentator now, remember a player of such a high profile just being completely, just dumped from the first team? Managers coming and said, "Oh, we cannot do what," and I mean, look at Paul Pogba and Manchester United. They found a way.
Not where there's been no reason behind it. I think before you've had players been left out. Sir Alex Ferguson got rid of Jaap Stam because there was issues around contracts or things that he said, whatever it was, and we'd seen that. Yeah, well, but we've seen that several times before. Sir Alex Ferguson was great at doing that, wasn't he? Obviously there was the incident, with Beckham and allegedly throwing a boot at him, accidentally, whatever it might be, and he moved great players on. He even did it with Roy Keane. But we knew that there was some kind of issue, sort of bubbling around in the background. With Ozil, there's been nothing. There are no secrets in football, but nothing has come out against Mesut Ozil and said, look, he's been on the front pages, he's been doing stupid things, or he's not been training well, he's been turning up late. We saw the rumours around Mason Greenwood turning up late for Manchester United. That got out immediately, and everybody knows about it. There's been nothing at all about Mesut Ozil. It's almost like he's just been turning up, he's been doing his work, and it's almost become, well, Mikel Arteta doesn't fancy him, just doesn't think he's good enough to play in his team. So now if he goes to Fenerbahce and starts playing well, makes Mikel Arteta look a little bit daft, I think. And so maybe they're trying to discredit Ozil, but before he starts doing that.
But isn't it a bit freaky that there was absolutely... Have you heard anything? I know I don't want to get you into trouble, but have you heard of anything so far?
No, there's been absolutely nothing. And this is what I'm saying. It's really strange because there are always rumours in football. And even if they're not out there, they are. There's often a lot of things that, okay, let's not go down that route, or you've heard something. There's been nothing at all. Mesut Ozil's kept himself clean. He's not been in the papers for any other reason. No players have come out and said, he's not been turned up for training, or he's not putting the work in, or his attitude is bad, or he's had an argument, or whatever it might be. There's been absolutely nothing. So I think this is the problem for Arsenal. If he doesn't play, and if he's not fit enough at Fenerbahce, then Arsenal go, well, there you go. That's why we moved him on. That's why we got rid of him. But if he starts to show the form and play the games with the ability that we know he can, and Arsenal are struggling for a creative midfield player, then suddenly it makes Arsenal look very, very silly. And there will be more questions to Mikel Arteta. Why couldn't you deal with Ozil? Why did you leave him out? Why did you move him on? And it's always a worry when you get rid of a really good player that he goes to his next club and is a superstar. And then you've got to justify making that decision.
So how does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer justify Van der Beek being on the bench? He's come out and said that, listen, he's not happy, but he's doing his part, training hard, being there for the team. What is going on there? It's such a sad story.
Well, it is. 6 weeks ago, it was very, very difficult to justify it. Now, with them being sort of, I don't know, second, third in the league, I mean, it changes every minute, doesn't it? At the moment. But they're up there, and they're challenging. They're in sort of the right place. Obviously, got a huge game in the FA Cup against Liverpool as well. Suddenly, you're going, well, okay, it's difficult when the team's playing well and when the team's winning. You can say, well, okay, he's not quite ready to step in yet. But at the start of the season, you're thinking, well, you've brought this player in. He's got great ability. Was he a replacement for Pogba? Has Pogba now stepped up, and has Pogba started to show, what he can do? But he hasn't really been given the opportunity to go and play, I feel, to show us what he can do, to show Ole Gunnar Solskjaer what he can do. We talk about the likes of Phil Foden. who, and I've always said, you need a run of 10 games in the first team, to show what you can do, to settle in, and then to start playing. Because you can come off the bench, you can have a great half an hour, you can have a great 60 minutes, but you need to be able to do it for 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. And in that 6, 7, 8 games, you're going to have a little dip. You're not going to be 9 out of 10 every single week. But when you have that bad game, you need to be able to play the next week, to get over that. And that's not happened for Donny van der Beek. He's just not had an opportunity, which I find very, very strange.
I have a feeling he'll be Pogba's replacement next season once the Frenchman departs. Cavani's impact at United has been second to none. He's been scoring the goals, getting it done. Another legend of the game, Thiago, came into Liverpool, had the best start in the world, and all of a sudden I start seeing articles whereby he might be the problem. Because would you say, if I were to bring up something like he is the Xavi of Liverpool, where everything has to go through him in order for the play to start, and that's hindering Liverpool?
Yeah, and some people have said, he slows Liverpool down. But, look at the team that he's come from, where they've dominated possession. They've never really been under a huge amount of pressure. So it's give him the ball, they dictate, and they play a slightly different way to Liverpool. I mean, I would suggest Liverpool are sort of the Bayern Munich of 7, 8, maybe not as many, 5, 6 years ago, when it was Robben and Ribéry up front, where it was all about, blistering a pace on the wings, fantastic players. And if you equated that to Salah and Mane, are Ribéry and Robben that much different? Probably not, in terms of the way that they play. So I think, when they're doing that, I think, it's a different way of playing that he's got to get used to, and that's what makes it difficult. But teams have to evolve. They always have to change. You cannot be the same team, every single time. A lot of people had an issue with Jordan Henderson originally. But look what he's gone on and taken them to Champions League, taken them to winning the Premier League. So there are lots of different things around evolutions of teams that everybody needs to adapt. And Thiago's a magnificent player.
Yep.
Other players around him have to change also. You can't just can't just expect Thiago to become a different player, because that's not why you bought him.
Okay. We're running out of time, so I'll just keep this brief. United take on Liverpool in the FA Cup. And as a Dortmund fan, I love Klopp. But what I'm seeing at Liverpool right now is so similar to what happened at Dortmund with Jurgen Klopp. After that little burst of success, the lack of evolution, like you put it, does come into play. And I can challenge any football fan out there, or commentator or journalist out there, it's almost history repeating itself. If this season doesn't go according to plan, how long would you give Jurgen Klopp when it comes to him not making an effort to completely rebuild the team?
I think it's really difficult, Roshan, because Manchester City have done the same. Manchester City were exceptional, and then you have a couple of seasons where they haven't been. It's very, very difficult to remain at the top for any length of time. And we saw Guardiola did it at Barcelona, left. Did it at Bayern Munich for 3 seasons, left. Was sensational at Manchester City for 3, 4 seasons, and then had a little bit of a dip. It's very, Sir Alex Ferguson did it time and time again, and that's what sets him apart from everybody else. Mourinho's been amazing for 3 seasons and then left, or it's fallen apart. It's so difficult to keep that evolution ongoing. Keep reinventing yourself time and time again. It's really hard to do that, to keep bringing in players, to keep that hunger, to keep that desire. Salah's been amazing for how long? Mane's been absolutely exceptional. To keep them at that highest level is so difficult. It's really, really tough. And of course, other teams are always trying to improve to get better and to beat you as well. So I'm not just sure it's it's not just a Klopp thing. Reinventing a winning side, I think, is one of the hardest things to do, to keep them at the very, very top. I think even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, this week, getting to the top of the league is the easy part. Staying there is the hard part. And then staying there for 2 seasons, for 3 seasons. And this is why, we've only ever seen Manchester United win the Premier League 3 times in a row. No one else has managed to do that. Winning it back to back is difficult. Up until Real Madrid broke the mold with that, sensational Galactico team, nobody had ever won the Champions League back to back. You know, I can't remember. You know, it's almost like is any. I don't know. You probably tell
It
me.
was AC Milan 2, Real Madrid 3, if I remember right.
Yeah, but even World Cup, has anyone won the World Cup back to back? I'm trying to think. You know,
I know Spain won the Euros back to back.
Well, yeah, but
World Cup, Euro.
Yeah, but it's tough to be able to do that. You know, it's to keep those high levels for any length of period is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. So I'm not just. I don't think it's necessarily just a Klopp issue. I think it's an evolution, and it's very, very difficult to keep evolving and to keep evolving while still being the very, very best.
I hope I got that fact about Spain correctly. Now I'm going to get slaughtered. Danny, it's been an absolute. Thank you so much, Danny. It's been an absolute pleasure. I heard your dog bark in the background. I think it's time for you to take him for a walk. Yeah. It's early over there in England. It's late here in the evening. Remember, catch all the highlights on our Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook page. Till the next time, take care.